University Circle Inc.
All right, here we go. So I've known Khrys for over 20 years and actually worked with him for over 20 years, so I could go on and on and on and on. But I've been asked just to say a few remarks about him and tell you a little bit about some of the details of the amazing things that he has done here at University Circle. So I'm going to refer to some notes so I stay on track and that we get this moving so that Khrys can speak at some point. So Khrys's tenure at University Circle Inc. has been truly transformational. From where we stand, literally in this building, One University Circle, built by partners at First Interstate Properties and Petros Homes, on land owned by UCI, it's easy to see the physical transformation that has happened throughout the neighborhood. All told, during Khrys's time at UCI, we partnered in the construction and renovation of more than 2,500 market rate and affordable housing units, oversaw over $3 billion in new construction and development throughout the neighborhood, and saw the district transform into a 24/7, 365-day active community with more jobs, small businesses, and vibrancy than the Circle has seen in more than a generation. Along with these new spaces came public art, wayfinding maps and signage to the neighborhood, and business programs like Next Step that graduated 60 small business owners over the last 4 years. University Circle also became a hub for seasonal events. Long-standing traditions like Parade the Circle in Circle Village and Holiday Circle Fest continue to blossom, and new events like WOW, Wait Oval Wednesday's Summer Concert Series, became a signature attraction with more than 60,000 attendees each summer. No one loved the concerts more than Khrys. As the event MC and the Wade Oval Wobble aficionado, maybe we'll see a little bit of that later, and no single event has defined his impact here in the Circle like WOW. To continue listing Khrys's accomplishments in the Circle would likely take most of the night, and I know we want to hear from our other speakers and of course Khrys himself. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Khrys's biggest accomplishment in the Circle, establishing a culture of welcomeness and invitation. Khrys was instrumental in connecting residents from around the world and from neighborhoods right next door. You may not know that each year UCI's education programs collaborate with more than 20 institutional partners to bring learning to life for more than 15,000 people, from preschool children to senior adult learners through arts-enriched community education programs. Khrys did his best each year to meet as many of those 15,000 students as he could, and he often shares stories and lessons he's learned from campers, future connection interns, and Circle scholars. As president of UCI, Khrys transformed the organization and the neighborhood. Lifeless lots are now businesses and homes. Students have unparalleled access to the Circle's resources after school and during the summer season. And the neighborhood remains clean, safe, and attractive, a place that welcomes all and spurs imagination, creativity, and wonder in those that visit. And on top of all that, Khrys has built an amazing team at UCI, several of whom are here tonight, who all believe in the people and the place. Thank you, Khrys, for all you've done for the University Circle, for the city, and for the region.
Thank you, Debbie. Next up, we have Geri Presti, President and CEO of the Music Settlement.
Can you hear me at the back? Those voice lessons paid off. I'm going to put you. I'm also Italian, so I need to gesture. Well, it's a real thrill to be here with all of you this evening. And I'd like to share some thoughts about Chris Ronayne tonight, your honoree. The Service Above Self award to Khrys could not be more fitting. And I'll tell you why he is the perfect choice for this esteemed recognition. I had the good fortune to meet Khrys many, many years ago when he worked with the city with Mayor Jane Campbell. And at that point I was working as general counsel at 4 City Enterprises, and we had a joint project together with the city. And subsequent to that time, I've had the pleasure of working with Khrys just about for most of the part of the last 5 years, and I took a role, as they said, at one of University Circle's arts and education organizations. Khrys has served our community in many public employment positions. On the county's planning commission as Mayor Campbell's city planning director. He was also the chief development officer, and he was chief of staff prior to his long tenure of president at UCI. but he also found time to serve our community's nonprofit organizations as a board member and also as chair in many instances. And these organizations included Canal Way Partners, Destination Cleveland, and the Port of Cleveland. In these roles, Khrys wore many hats. He acted as a convener, collaborator, spokesperson, fundraiser, developer, visionary, innovator, implementer, storyteller, and educator. But the role that I want to focus on tonight is the role that embodies all of these others, and that's the role of leader. Khrys's leadership reminds me of one of my favorite George Bernard Shaw quotes, which states in part, "I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the community, and it is, as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can." Khrys exudes a sense of purpose, duty, and service to our community, and he inspires others to join him as he seeks solutions to the community's challenges and problems. Khrys is the poster person for servant leadership. He supports his staff and makes sure that they're successful in their roles. He's a compassionate and empathetic person whose love for the community gives him the passion and the drive to seek all the ways that he can make our community a healthy, inclusive, connected, and thriving place to live and work. During Khrys's 16 years at the helm of UCI, he transformed University Circle into a place-making paradigm and a national award-winning community that attracts all people, residents, business owners, faculty, students, healthcare workers, patients, customers, out-of-town visitors, to engage with the city's center of eds, meds, and arts, as we like to call ourselves. Khrys's efforts through strategic planning and forming synergistic partnerships, planning community developments, focusing on safety, have resulted in a quality of life in University Circle that is perfectly aligned with UCI's mission, and that is building a community experience that connects all people with Cleveland Center of culture, healing, and learning. Khrys acknowledges, as Debbie said, that the many positive changes that have been executed under his leadership could not be done without the help of others. And along the way, he has used his strong communication and relationship building skills to work with all kinds of partners, nonprofits, businesses, educational institutions, healthcare organizations, government and financial institutions, developers, neighborhood community members, to work for the benefit of Cleveland. Importantly, he surrounded himself with a team of experienced and talented colleagues to accomplish his ambitious goals. He is so proud of and so grateful for these folks, and he never misses a chance to give them recognition for their contributions. He's earned the deep respect of his colleagues and his board for his authenticity, his humility, and his integrity. Khrys has served at the highest level of every organization with which he has been affiliated over the years. With his keen intellect and his operations acumen, social intelligence, and knowledge of organizational development, his ability to work with a range of diverse individuals and manage many constituents, he could have chosen a career path offering greater symbols of the appearance of societal success. But instead, he has chosen to remain in and serve the nonprofit and public sectors. And so in this way, he has achieved what author Ken Blanchard defines as living a life of significance. He uses his time and talents and treasure to make a difference and to make transformational changes. And that's emblematic of the Rotary Club's recognition of his service above self. So I cannot end this presentation without commenting on that old adage, behind every successful man is a strong woman. And Natalie Ronayne is an incredibly talented and accomplished professional in her own right, and she's an equal partner with Khrys. Together they've devoted themselves to our community, and first and foremost to their children, Audrey and Joe. So this is a tribute to a resident leader for whom we're all grateful to have as our colleague, partner, neighbor, and friend. Thank you to the members of the Rotary Club for recognizing Chris's significant contributions to our community. And congratulations, Khrys, on this well-deserved honor. We wish you continued success and fulfillment. Thank you.
Geri, let's hear some more really great things about Khrys. Kelly Falcone-Hall, President and CEO of the Western Reserve Historical Society. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, more nice things about Khrys. That's not hard to do, right? Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say nice things about Khrys this evening. I don't know really possibly what more I could say. Oh, but look, I found some things. Under Chris's leadership of University Circle Incorporated, as has already been noted, it's vibrant, it's populated, it's activated. Many of you know that Circle institution leaders have come to call the Circle a collaboratory, right? I'm not sure, Khrys, if you actually coined that term or someone else did, but I want to talk a little bit tonight about institutional partnerships and how critically important Chris's leadership has been to forging these relationships. Khrys, and I should say, his collaborative team, or former team at University Circle Incorporated. Khrys has always fostered, I think, an environment and a culture of cooperation, collaboration, mutual respect, never competitive, always supportive among all of the institutions of University Circle. And I was remembering very early on in my tenure as CEO of the Historical Society, Khrys suggested, and I think participated in, a panel discussion among, it was a Circle Neighbors program, and it was University Circle heads of arts and culture organizations, all fairly new to their jobs. And we talked about collaboration and partnerships in the Circle. And what a great way to sort of welcome us to the Circle, to one another. And truly the friendships and the relationships that we forged that day, this is, I don't know, 8 years ago or so, who would know that those relationships and those friendships would become so important years later. As friends, as collaborators, we trust each other and really depended and leaned on one another, especially in 2020, over the last 18 months. And I want to talk a little bit about how Khrys kept us together during the pandemic, and still. He convened a series of meetings for University Circle institutions with university hospitals. So as many of our organizations were creating our own restart playbooks, there was no playbook. There isn't a playbook for what we've all been through. And having those meetings, keeping the meetings of the executive directors of the Circle institutions together has been invaluable to all of our organizations. I could cite hundreds of examples of Chris's collaborative leadership, but I'll just give you a few. Debbie mentioned earlier education. Western Reserve Historical Society has been a proud partner with UCI in education for 15, 20 years. The Mary Bethune Elementary School partnership is particularly important to us and to the community. I want to talk about safety. Under Chris's leadership, University Circle institutions can participate in safety trainings, workforce training sessions, active shooter sessions with UCPD. Recently, I want to talk about under restoration and history and community engagement, the Cosette Bates House really is, I think, a shining example of collaboration between many organizations. I don't want to leave any out, so I'm going to read here. University Circle Incorporated, of course, UH, CWRU, the City of Cleveland, the county, Restore Cleveland Hope, and the incredible John Southgate, Western Reserve Historical Society, the Transplant House, the State of Ohio, and many more. Just recently opened. If you've not been there, you really need to go check it out. But that's Khrys. That's Khrys. That's his legacy at University Circle Incorporated. That's his colleagues. Khrys is a collaborator, he's a placemaker, he's a convener, a connector, all these words that we're all going to use to describe Khrys this evening, but all toward the singular goal of making University Circle and Greater Cleveland and our region a better place. So on behalf of Western Reserve Historical Society, Khrys, and as your friend and colleague, And I know I speak on behalf of other University Circle institutions. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition.
Thank you, Kelly. And we also want to welcome Chris Shefton, Director of Real Estate Development, the Famicos Foundation. Hey, Chris.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Chris Shefton. I'm the Director of Real Estate Development for Famicos Foundation. Thank you so much to the Rotary Club for having me this evening, for this wonderful opportunity to be able to, again, say nice things about Chris. But I'm going to take about a little bit of a different lens. We've all heard already servant leadership and authenticity and hard work and commitment, all the buzzwords and vocabulary, but I am a product of the buzzwords and vocabulary. I am a graduate of Cleveland State University, the Masters of Urban Planning and Design and Development program, which is renowned across the United States of America. Very proud graduate. As we walk into one of the classrooms, there is a huge wall of photographs of noted alums. Amongst those photographs are Frank G. Jackson and Chris Ronayne. Every day we walk to class, that's what we see. As a planner, we all aspire to be Chris. One can only hope that you can make the amount of impact that Chris has on this city we all love so much. Standing in this beautiful room, in this gorgeous building, being able to look out and see the incredible landscape that he's created right here in University Circle. Everywhere you look, you can see his impact and the impact of his team. I think the most important thing a leader can always do is to create followers. His staff, other organizations, the neighborhoods that surround University Circle, all looked to Chris's leadership, all looked to be those followers, because we all want to follow in his footsteps of what's happened right here in this wonderful place. You know, there is no one, I don't think, maybe John Skirdick, maybe, that knows more about the city of Cleveland than Chris does. But why is that important? If you don't know where you've gone, you don't know where you've been. And so Chris's encyclopedic knowledge of Cleveland's history means that he can chart us a course for our future. And so standing here today is not just to talk about all of the wonderful things that he's accomplished, but fingers crossed, all the wonderful things for the future. So with that, Chris, on behalf of every mentor, every friend, every colleague, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you so much for your impact. And we look forward to so much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Wow, this has been pretty amazing. And thank you all for your heartfelt and poignant accounts of Chris.